Well, good morning, everybody. This is Wild Bill here with a smidgen of salt here in Studio A. Just had a quick thought I wanted to put out there before I got out of the truck and went to my home. But something I was thinking about, that might be a question for a lot of people, and I've talked about this before in videos, but it bears repetition, and I know a lot of people wonder about this. They wonder, what does it mean to be born again? What does that mean, and how does this happen? What is the process? And it can be confusing because a lot of people out there, a lot of teachers and preachers, and you add the false teachers and the false preachers, false prophets in with the mix, they confuse and muddy the waters by misinterpreting, sometimes on purpose, sometimes not on purpose. And I'm not saying that I've got it down pat. I'm going to talk about this for a minute or two, and then you be the judge. But basically, what it means to be born again, and how does this happen? Well, He, our God, our Father, by the Holy Spirit, sovereignly, directly, supernaturally, divinely changes the inherent nature of the human being. And He does this from above. Several translations say you must, in John chapter 3, when He's talking to Nicodemus, He says you must be born from above. Some translations say born again. But so God from above changes the inherent nature of the human being from above, and He creates within that human being faith in that unbelieving heart, changing the what does He change? He changes the disposition of the will of that person from one that is disinclined towards the things of God, and He changes the inclination so that now the person who was dead in sin and trespasses is made alive unto God. So He changes your nature, who you are, in essence. And that which the person hated and fled from and despised and rejected day in and day out, now that he's been changed and his will has been changed, because before he was unwilling, now he is willing. But now, instead of rejecting God and His things, he now loves and desires and embraces and is drawn to God and His things. People wonder all the time, how do you know if you're born again? Well, there's the number one test. The number one evidence, I guess, is a better way of putting that. You hated God before, now you love Him. Now you want Him. Now you want His things, His people, His ways. See, this is a supernatural work of God that no person can accomplish in his own flesh. You can't, in other words, you can't just walk down the aisle at some church and decide that you are going to be born again. It don't work that way. Only God, the Holy Spirit, can raise you from the dead, because remember, you were dead in your trespasses and sins. You were a dead man. That means the only way we're going to have revival is if God does it. He makes you alive unto himself. No one can manipulate the sovereignty of God. Nobody. You can, though. You might ask the question, what can we do? What can we do as preachers and as people who care about the lost and want to reach them for our God? Well, you can pray your heart out. You can preach your heart out for everybody and to everybody that you come in contact with. But these things happen as the Spirit wills, not as you will. That's what it means to be born again, and that is how this process occurs. Take everything I'm saying with a grain of salt, and remember the widows, orphans, and the poor. They really need your help.